I've always loved solo hikes. It was a way to disconnect from the hustle and bustle and spend time alone in nature. I often ventured far away from civilization where there were no people and no signal. But this hike became my last. That day I hiked more than usual. The fatigue hit me harder than I expected, so by 8 in the evening I packed up the camp, put out the fire, and crawled into the tent. I sleep lightly, especially in the woods, so I always set up my tent with the entrance close at hand. The knife, as always, was lying nearby in case of uninvited guests, whether animals or people. I woke up suddenly. The silence was broken by a quiet, barely audible sound. The tent zipper was slowly being pulled. Instantly, alarm bells went off. I grabbed the knife and shouted that I was armed. There was no response. For a few seconds, nothing happened, and then suddenly I heard a sharp thudding. Someone was running away from the tent. I sat there with the knife in my hand, tensed to the limit. A little time passed, but it felt like an eternity. When everything quieted down, I decided not to tempt fate. I packed my things in a hurry and left before dawn. The adrenaline kept me on my feet all night. The next morning, I learned from the news that a man's body had been found nearby in the woods. He was brutally murdered, and it didn't seem like an accident. I realized right away, the killer came to me that night. I went to the police to tell my story. Of course, I became a suspect. They interrogated me for hours, searched my things, but in the end, they let me go. There was no evidence against me. Since then, I haven't gone on solo hikes anymore. The maniac, as I found out later, was never caught. And sometimes I think that if I had slept a little deeper that night, I might not be sitting here writing this story.